Hey, so those of you that know me as more of a background in education and the career field of teaching versus admin work, I am glad that you do. I I have been in transition mode into admin work for a few years already because of my divorce process and business building. Now, when it came to a few homeschooling ideas and processes, which by the way, I ended up in court trying to explain it as well, even with lesson planning for as a homeschooling parent, I came up with different viewpoints while I was married. And then during the divorce, I transitioned out into a business format so that I could work with my children, even in business and kidpreneurship. Well, in homeschooling, because homeschooling, I got a chance to go through a lot of research during graduate school coursework, and I had a different type of a choice many years ago. I got a chance to understand why homeschooling was a choice for parents and what type of demographics were combined for the research for homeschooling families and the curriculum. So while I went through that process, I got a chance to incorporate my understanding of what I was trained in as an educator. As a classroom teacher, what grade levels do you get training on and what comes out from it? So, as an expert in understanding at least bare minimum, and then understanding how that transitions into even my coursework. Sorry about that. Um, my coursework includes curriculum design and curriculum editing, which I've done a few times, uh, not just with my formal teaching position, but also tutoring, adaptations, assessment changes and adaptations according to the standard and outcomes and whatever was given. So the process in explaining this was very interestingly different and difficult at times because not everyone understood it as homeschooling curriculum as well. Because you have to transition between homeschool and the home uh, home assigned school in the public school system. And this is for the US. So for the USA, that's how it's traditionally worked in. You have to really explain where the homeschooling process is. So in my training, I was able to get early literacy training, assessment building, MSL multisensory learning. It was really great for me on a personal level as well as my professional development. The plan was to continue that development in through tenureship, and it didn't quite work out the same way. Because of that, I was able to incorporate it into my homeschooling practice as a mother with all three of my children. So while I homeschool taught part time and then full time, and then with approval, there was a change in how I was able to do my research, which included how early literacy was being interweaved into the lessons. So, for example, introducing alphabets and sounds, I now could see the difference between the curriculum and why it is difficult in grade K to transition some students out from pre K because of the sound introduction of letter names versus the comparison of where early literacy defaults to, especially with parents that teach versus what happens. So, in grade K, for example, if we introduce a sound, you can use a magnetic board and use something tangible that's hands on and use a magnetic letter on a pan and sweep it across the pan for that sound. But the introduction of that, it takes a little bit more intricate training in understanding why it's best to do it with tangibles and manipulatives versus a book and a hand fingerprint and how you say a sound versus letter name. So the transition from early literacy training with some of the curriculum, it does interrupt the transition from an age 4 child into age 5 and 6. I don't know. I know there is already arguments out there, but because of that training that I had, I got a chance to review even today one of the books that I had already been trained on. But because of my earlier training, I said, oh, okay, it's not going to work out if I introduce it like this in this grade level. It might work at this age, but then now you have to retrain. So, retraining, it's up to a parent, it's up to a teacher, it's up to a school on how the curriculum transitions with a teacher. And for that reason, I would say that a parent's choice should include a parent review of curriculum and how kids are being transitioned into a school and into their literacy process, including mathematics and arithmetic. Um, I'm not in favor of every parent choice or every type of a process, but I do have the training to review and understand how the implementation works, at least before my doctorate levels and completing my master's. So, if that helps any parent out there, I hope you have a good chance to review, even for part time homeschooling, even for apps that you download from the App Store. Enjoy it, have fun.